What do you do when it feels like the whole world is against you? Like God is against you? When your world falls apart, do you draw near to your loved ones? Or do you push everybody else away and draw into yourself and hide? The movie Finding Nemo has a moment just like that, where Marlin is pushing Dory away. It's a moment that I think we can all relate to.
And I look at you and I'm home. Please. I don't want that to go away. I don't want to forget.
I'm sorry, Dory, but I do.
Relationships can be more painful than any battle. Now, we're just coming out of the book of Judges. The book of Judges is harsh, brutal. So maybe it's fitting that after a book with so much ruthlessness, we come into a book so full of Ruth. Get it? Ruth, ruthlessness. We made it to the book of Ruth. Ruth takes place in the days of the Judges, before there was a king in Israel. After reading about all of these leaders and kings and nations and wars, we leave all of that and we follow one family. So there's a famine in the land. A man named Elimelech takes his wife Naomi and their 2 boys, and they move to the land of Moab. Then Elimelech dies. The boys take wives, but before long they die too. So Naomi is in a foreign land. Her only living family are her 2 daughters-in-law. It's a dark picture. And all of this happens in the first 5 verses. Ruth moves pretty fast. Oh, and since it's spring break, please welcome my 2 guest storytellers, our very own Naomi and Ruth. Naomi finds out that the famine is over in Israel, so she decides to go home, and she tries to say goodbye to her boys' wives.
Go back, each of you, to your mother's home. May the Lord show you kindness, as you have shown kindness to your dead husbands and me. May the Lord grant that each of you will find rest in the home of another husband.
Naomi kissed the girls, and they cried. They argued.
We will go back with you, with your people. Return home, my daughters. Why would you come with me? Am I going to have any more sons who could become your husbands? Return home, my daughters. I am too old to have another husband. Even if I thought there was still even hope for me, even if I had a husband tonight and then gave birth to sons, would you wait until they grow up? Would you remain unmarried for them? No, my daughters. It is more bitter for me than for you, because the Lord's hand has turned against me.
The Lord's hand has turned against me. That's how Naomi has come to see the world. God is working against her. And there's a little bit of irony here. Naomi's name means pleasant, and she's not feeling that way. She says so later in the book.
Don't call me Naomi. Call me Mara, because the Almighty has made my life very bitter. I went away full, but the Lord has brought me back empty. Why call me Naomi? The Lord has afflicted me. The Almighty has brought misfortune upon me.
Have you been there? Have you felt like God is stacking the deck against you? Have you felt like everyone is telling you to lighten up, to look on the bright side, to be pleasant, when all of life just tastes bitter? That's where Naomi was. And so she did what we all do. She pushed everyone away. She closed off into herself. She tried to hide. But God had other plans for this family. And it starts here, in Naomi's darkest moment on the road between Moab and Bethlehem. One of the girls goes back home, but Ruth clings to Naomi.
Look, your sister-in-law is going back to her people and her gods. Go back with her. Don't urge me to leave you or to turn back from you. Where you go, I will go. And where you will stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people. Your God, my God. Where you will die, I'll die. And there I will be buried. May the Lord deal with me. Be it ever so severely, if even death separates you and me.
Yeah, that kind of love, that kind of loyalty, it's a picture of God's love for us. Love that Naomi isn't able to see right now. Then Ruth takes to the fields, gleaning to provide for them. We meet Boaz, a relative of Elimelech's. Ruth happens to end up in his field, and he provides for their needs.
Where did you glean today? Where did you work? Blessed be the man who took notice of you. The name of the man that I worked with today is Boaz. The Lord bless him. He has not stopped showing his kindness to the living and the dead.
Naomi realizes that Boaz could be the one to redeem her family, to marry Ruth, and to preserve the family line of her husband and her sons.
My daughter, I must find a home for you. Well, where you will be well provided for. Now Boaz, with whose women you have worked, is a relative of ours. Tonight he will be winnowing barley on the threshing floor. Wash, put on perfume, get dressed in your best clothes. Then go down to the threshing floor, but don't let him know you are there until he has finished eating and drinking. When he lies down, note the place where he is lying. Then go and uncover his feet and lie down. He will tell you what to do. I will do whatever you say.
And she does. Boaz goes through all the steps to redeem that family. It's an amazing picture of how God redeems all of us. They have a son, and he is placed on Naomi's lap. Naomi, who was left childless, familyless, in bitterness. Naomi is part of a family again. But it's not over. God's plan is even more amazing than that.
Boaz was the father of Obed. Obed was the father of Jesse. And Jesse was the father of David.
King David. This is where he came from. And beyond that, David's line will eventually lead us to Jesus. God's hand was not against Naomi. Was she right to feel that way? Well, how would you feel in that moment? But we serve a God who is always at work, redeeming the whole creation. And he's using us in ways that echo way beyond anything we can imagine. That's what's truly amazing about this sweet little love story tucked away in the middle of the Old Testament. It's not about kings or battles or leaders or warriors. It's about relationships, choices, loyalty, love, and how God uses those little things to change the world.
Humble yourselves, therefore, under God's mighty hand, that he may lift you up in due time. Cast all your anxiety on him, because he cares for you.
Grace and peace.
It's just